So, in this one, we talk about props. A proper prop education, if you will. Nick goes into props and how to take care of them, what to do with them, how to change them, because you need to change them all the time. So, I hope you enjoy this one. It's actually a pretty good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Michael Rollins Show.
I mean, like, all we need now is dolphin noises, and this will be perfectly legit. So
I can drop you the audio file for it.
Yeah, dude, you're totally gonna have to drop me the audio file because I'll just have to randomly throw it in.
Dude, it's good. I love the dolphin noises. It's like one of the only things I've got. The dolphin noises and like glitch things are the only thing that I have like auto import into every single video that I do. Like before the GoPro footage goes in, before the Sony footage goes in, first thing in is like dolphin noises.
That's awesome. And I mean, honestly, it's like your signature, right? Like everybody knows that there's a dolphin noise and it's a Wild Willy video.
Yeah, it's funny, just things just stick sometimes. It's weird.
So tell me, we're obviously welcome to the Michael Rollins Show. We're here with Wild Willy. This is it. I wore my shark T-shirt, my daddy shark T-shirt, and just in honor of him. Actually, I just wore this shirt today. It's one of my favorites. So here we are, man, and I want to thank you for coming on. And let's get into it, man. Tell me about where did the dolphin noise come from?
Oh, it was a video a long time ago because I realized I may have been the first vlog they did. I don't know. I didn't want to have actual cursing in my videos.
Yeah. And
I was a huge fan of SpongeBob as a kid, and the episodes ingrained into my brain is when they have the dolphin noises and stuff like that, and the boat noises play over them cursing. And I was that was so racy as a kid. It just kind of stuck. So I decided to use that as a censor. And then, of course, right after I did that, everyone's like, yeah, what if Jake Paul or Logan Paul uses that? You copied it from him. I'm like, dang it, I thought I had a cool original idea.
Right.
No, someone else has done it every single time.
Yeah, but in this community, it is known as the Wild Willy F-bomb noise.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's funny. I just try and throw it in on other things. If I'll just take a random word. It's just a normal word or whatever, and I'll put the dolphin noise in it to make it sound like I'm cursing.
That's hysterical.
Did he just drop an F-bomb in that sentence? I'm like, oh, I don't know. No one's ever gonna know.
I didn't know if there was some kind of level of okay, my mom might watch the video, and I don't want her to hear me cursing, so I'll just cover it up. But
well, that is what it turned into.
Right.
because I started doing it's just something, I was like, whatever. When I get in the zone editing, I have usually one screen for editing, and then my second monitor is literally just it's YouTube and then a YouTube audio downloader. I'm just constantly searching up sound effects, searching up little sound bites, downloading them and throwing them in. And it just happened once and it stuck. And then probably maybe 5-6 videos later, my mom actually did text me and was like, I'm glad you're using dolphin noises to censor your videos. You can't have cursing like that on your YouTube channel. I'm like, wait, did you start watching those videos?
What's my mom? Yeah. Now I will tell you this, my dad watches a bunch of my videos. And I'm probably in a different space being an actual dad and being a little bit older. But it's there is a pressure that comes with knowing that your mom or your dad or a relative is going to watch the videos that you're putting out.
I know. Because to me, I don't feel bad just doing all the dumb stuff that I do and all the dumb stuff that I say. Because I'm just in my head, I'm just it's just a bunch of strangers online watching it, kind of get that mentality, the invincibility kind of you get in your head.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, my mom's like, "Oh, that was a cool video you did. I didn't really understand what those PIDs were, but it was a cool." I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm going back to the video. Did I say anything bad? Did I do anything wrong that I should have done it?
I've had a few episodes of the just random flight videos or other things I've done. Not so much the interviews because I think that's pretty niche. But my dad will share them on Facebook, and I'll get my dad's friends commenting on it, and it's just okay, this is cool, but this is not quite what I expected. Or like I'll get
Exactly.
I'll get like a phone call from my dad. I'll be like, yeah, I watched the video, and so and so was asking about how you do all that drone stuff, and it's like, well, it's kind of I can talk to him, but it's definitely. I mean, Dad, I'm gonna be talking to like your 60, 70-year-old friend about flying FPV. Is that, are you sure about that? Oh yeah, that's fine. How did you, normally I start with people talking about the origin story of getting into FPV, but I think with you, how did you get into video editing? Like, where did that come from?
Oh, that's something that kind of just like that I picked up along the way. So I started with, just standard. I was a guy with an FPV quad, and I had an HD camera, so I just started like slapping the videos together and stuff like that. And everything was just slapped together for probably maybe 2 years, 3 years. And it wasn't until I started getting when I made my very first like vlog, that was the first time that I really had to like delve into editing, because I am awful at doing like one take for anything filming, anything talking. I just can't do it. You give me a sentence to say, oh, today we are going to talk about FPV drones and how to tune PIDs. When the camera is rolling, I can't do it. And that's why if you notice any of my videos, every sentence is actually like 3 sentences chopped up and combined into one to make it sound like a continuous sentence.
You do a good job at that, though.
A lot of practice. And if you look at any of my edits, you look at most people's and it's just like one take sequence, just left to right, the whole sequence. Mine looks like a diced onion going across because there's so many cuts to chop all like the and like all that stuff. Just cut it out. And that, I kind of really got into that. And then I started looking up how to like, edit that better, tricks for editing out stuff like that. And then I just was overwhelmed by like the amount of like tutorials and video stuff. And it really just instantly opened my eyes to like the editing and like, videography and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. And so I started playing with that and like the videos I already had made and started putting that into my FPV stuff. And then it kind of started like hybridizing and moving into like a combination of both. And it's really neat to like, because in the end of it, even though we are doing FPV videos, really what we're making is just any kind of like video content for people to watch. So why not treat it like any other video content? Why do we have to just keep it at just like FPV GoPro stuff? And especially if you're like doing things like talking to the camera and filming, like why not make it interesting? Like why do you want to stick to something boring like just talking? Why not add more things that are engaging, things that are interesting for people to watch than just the FPV part? Because personally, I think that it doesn't really matter about just the sole raw FPV footage. It's just making engaging content.
How much hold on. How many different types of videos do you think you make? Like you've got, I'm sure you've got flight edits, you've got tutorials. Like what kinds of things do you typically make in a scope of a few months worth of time?
Oh, that's a good question. I think a lot of it depends on the time frame, because I seem to bounce around a lot. I don't really have kind of like a necessarily consistent thing. A lot of it comes with, I'll just do videos on whatever comes to my mind, honestly. I have like a short list of video ideas that I come up with and I jot them down. I kind of play around with that. If I see something like online where like, oh, that's a good point, maybe we should do a video on that, like that'll come about. And then sometimes, I'll just go out and just fly and then throw the footage together. Sometimes I'll bring a second GoPro and do a stick cam. I'm like, why not? I'm all over the place, but recently in the last probably 3 months, let me go on my channel and see what I've done. I've been really bouncing around a lot because I've been trying to do, since I've graduated and I don't have
Yeah.
school in the way, I've been trying to do at least two videos a week. So I do Mondays and Thursdays, Eastern U.S. time uploads.
Yeah.
And so to do that, I've tried to come up with more videos. I've done a lot more kind of in like the tutorial stuff as well, because I was thinking about, there's a lot of stuff that I watch other people do and kind of like weird random knowledge that I have, especially on the more of like the video editing side, that can help share with everyone. Because I see a lot of times people are always like, people seem to like not like, or they seem to resent any kind of like, like editing and FPV videos. And I think it's just because they don't know how to do it. And people they don't like it because they don't understand it, or they don't know how to do it, or they don't feel like they can do it. When there's a lot of stuff out there, it's really simple. And like, that's something even recently I've been trying to like only use like free software to make it more where, if you guys are watching this stuff, you see something cool, I'm going to show you how anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So that's something I've kind of brought in. I've started doing more like those, like the challenge videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did one where like flying for 60 seconds around a single tree to try and.
I almost entered that. I was this close to dredging up. I've got some footage. That was probably one of my favorite flights ever. It was around a single tree, and I had actually gone with my son's youth group. We were doing this like youth weekend, and they had me along as a videographer. And as part of that, I worked FPV footage into the montage video that I did for the weekend, because I was like, well, I've got a Mavic, I'll put some drone footage in there, and put shots of the kids doing cool things, like climbing high ropes and stuff like that. But I was like, man, I'm gonna put FPV in this because I think that's cool. So I worked in this one tree as like a story point into the whole video. And I almost entered your competition, but I was like, it's my flight controller was loose while I was flying. And so it was vibrating in air. And so like I've got all this it's like this could have been one of my best flights ever. And because the flight controller was just wobbling just enough because one of the nuts wasn't tied down, I ended up not entering it. But
dude, I can like religiously feel that. I used to so like a long time ago, back in the days when everyone would use like all nylon everything.
Yeah, that's all my stuff is nylon.
I would use all nylon standoffs to keep the flight controller on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I did it for the longest time, but I was so lazy back then.
Right.
And if I'd be out flying, I would crash, and in the field I'd be like, oh dude, I get more packs in. So I would literally zip tie just like over the flight controller to the bottom of the frame and then back up around and just straight up zip tie the flight controller to the whole frame. And and it got to the point where I'd do it and I'd fly. I'm like, oh, this flies pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah. And I'd go home and I'd be like, oh my God, that was not good. That was not good. I gotta fix that. And then I'm like 2 days later, I've totally forgotten to fix it. Go out to fly again. I plug the battery in and I see this massive zip tie going around and I'm like, oh God, I totally forgot to fix that.
Right.
Well, maybe if I tighten the zip ties down, it'll be a little better today. Nope, never was.
Yeah.
And it's so many days of flying of just horrible oscillations I never realized. And there were times where I probably went 3 or 4 flying sessions, like horrible footage because of the zip tie, get home, forget to take the zip ties off and actually redo it, and then go out again and repeat the same process.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so I actually like felt the video that you did recently in like the core of my soul when you were like, change your freaking props. And
yes, exactly.
I have chewed up prop. It looks good. All right. The tips are a little worn. That's fine. I'll just slap it on there and we'll see how it goes. And then you get home and it's like,
oh my God, dude.
And so when you made that video, I was like, oh God, like I was literally having like a post-traumatic experience thinking about all the footage that has not been great that could have been spectacular because
Yeah.
I bet a prop back, right? So
Yeah, and it actually what made me make that video was, again, that was a Facebook inspired video, because I saw
Right.
I think Scarecrow FPV posted something about how, my first crash of the day, bent the props, and then I bent them back, and then I flew like 10 packs after that, and all the footage was ruined. And I watched some of the footage, and I was like, just change props, guys.
Yeah.
And it's just something that everyone. I mean, I am notorious for it, and it's also something to do with the fact that everyone runs those like indestructible props now.
yeah,
Like, no props break anymore. They
these are
only
the
bend,
Dow
but they get shit.
Cyclone.
Yeah, Dow's
Yeah.
perfect example. They never break. You won't ever break them, but you'll nick them and you'll bend them and you'll bend them back
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And so it's really easy to like mentally like, well, the prop's not physically shattered, and it still flies, so it's okay.
And because you're not looking in HD, you can't see it in your goggles.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't really realize it until you get home. And it's a lot of things where it's like, I mean, to be fair, props are really cheap. Like, it's not like, every time your props get bent, you're not dropping like $100 on a prop. You're not even dropping $5. They're like 80 cents a piece or whatever now.
Yeah.
So it's like 80 cents. I mean, you're already spending an entire day flying. You've already spent countless money on GoPros and quads and motors. You spend, God knows how many hours tuning and getting the filters right to get rid of vibrations. And all of a sudden, like, a 50-cent piece of plastic is all mangled. You're like, well, I'm going to save 50 cents after, 100 hours I've put into doing all this stuff and all this. But that 50 cents is going to be, that's my breaking point.
That's
right
money
there.
well spent. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, it just doesn't really make sense when you think of big picture to not change the props when they're just so cheap nowadays.
I flew for a long time. I flew the 5x4x3 V1Ss, and there was this stretch of actually really decent footage because those props are terrible on impact. Because the minute they hit something, they just they disintegrate or they fold up.
They explode.
Yeah. I mean, they just But it forced me to put new props on all the time, and I switched back to the Dows recently, and I've noticed that there's been a degradation in my footage because you're all right. It's like, oh, this will bend back. Like this is good. That's what Dows are made for.
Yeah, and even especially like prop tips is one thing that I'm notorious for as well. People always just the tip is nicked a little bit, or especially if there's a part of the tip missing. Like, oh, it's just a little bit of the tip. But it's but the tip has the largest effect on the prop's like center of gravity. So a little bit of the tip is the same as a lot of the base being gone, And if the tip's bent a little bit, that's does way more damage than the whole prop being just slightly shifted a little bit. So it's one of those things like, the tip, just the tips are fine. Just they're a little knocked up. It's like, but that's what makes the biggest problem is stuff that happens at the tips. Oh my God. I actually was shooting myself in the foot because the last 3 times I've actually gone to fly, I've had just horrible footage because I put the S3 props on. I want to try those out. And I wasn't a fan of how they flew.
Indestructible.
Yeah, but I put them on to do some flying with, crashed around a little bit. I was like, okay, whatever. But I kept them on because they look good in photos. So I took a bunch of photos with them and put the quad back in my bag, got home, dumped my bag out, charged everything, yada, yada, yada. But I took my prop bag out and put it on my workbench, which I never do. I never leave my bag. And so for the last 3 times I've gone out flying, I have not had my prop. I've had no props. So I've been using the exact same set of beat up S3 props for almost a week and a half now. And every time I go out, I open my bag up. I'm like, oh, this prop's a little beat up. And I look at my bag, and I'm just like, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I'm like, first off, I don't have the props I actually like. So I'm stuck flying the S3s again. And second off, I know they're going to oscillate everywhere. I mean, I spent probably, I went to go fly yesterday, and I spent maybe the first 10 minutes with my teeth, trying to bite every little nick and get the props back in place. I'm like, all right, don't crash, because if you crash, I have to bike back home to get more props to then come back out again, because I just totally forgot.
So you know that what props do you normally fly?
I swear by the HQ 5 by 4.5 by 3.
Okay.
I won't fly anything else. I have flown literally every other prop on the market, and nothing flies like the 5 by 4.5 by 3. The V1S, to be specific.
The V1S,
not
yeah.
It's the perfect combination of smoothness, which is a huge thing I look for in props, because people always talk about changing your tunes and changing your filters, but personally I think the thing that makes one of the absolute largest difference in flight performance would be your props. Like, you take the exact same quad and you put different props on, and you can't even tell it's the same quad sometimes. So the 5 by 4.5 by 3s are my absolute favorite props of all time.
Yeah, I have been debating going back to the V1Ss, just because I have the S3s. I've been trying them out a little bit. The Dow 5047 Cyclones. I've also been messing with those, and I really like those. They feel almost like you're adding KV because they're so steeply pitched. And it definitely is a more aggressive prop. But they feel really good on like a 2306 motor. Whereas I have not liked them. I just switched over to 2207s, and I was like, I don't really like this prop as much. But then all of a sudden I was flying the S3s, and I didn't like them on the 2306 hype trains that I was flying, and switched over to I've got some MB Primos. And I was like, wow, I really like the S3 props all of a sudden. Like,
yeah, and that's something.
It's really interesting.
The 2306 to 2207 debate seems to really get people kind of boil it down to, well, the 2306 has more low end torque. I like 2207 has more top end, and people like say the words, but I don't think they understand what that means and how that actually affects the flight performance, in the sense that you can run a heavier prop on the 2306s, and it will feel the same as a lighter prop on a 2207. And that's why stuff like that's why I've always preferred 2306 motors, is because they have faster response time. And when it comes down to it, like, the motor prop combo is the absolute biggest determiner when it comes to, like, at least on the same quad, it's the biggest thing that can affect your flight performance, because I remember I saw some data online where I think it was UAV Tech posted one about showing, like, the motor response time, motor prop combos. It's like a low pass filter at like 8 to 10 hertz, Yeah. People are trying to take the low pass filter to 150 hertz and 200 hertz and all these crazy high numbers. But it's like, but your actual physical response time from the actual driving force is like 8 to 10 hertz. Yeah. So, you're doing all this crazy work to try and get better response from your filters and your tune, your flight controller. But your
motors can only respond.
Yeah,
so
the
fast.
Limiting factor is the motor prop combo. And people are just kind of like, well, I just run whatever motors are cheap, and I just run whatever props I have laying around. It's like, but you realize, rather than spending, 3 weeks tuning a crappier setup, or you're running lower powered motors or heavier props, you can get much better response and get a much tighter tune by simply just running a lighter prop, or simply just running a more torquey motor. And then all your problems are solved. Like, that's what I've done. I picked a torquey motor. That was one of the biggest things I wanted for a motor when I was back making one. I wanted a torquey motor that I can run a light prop on. And now I never tune. I have not tuned a quad in 2 years, because if you have a torquey motor and a light prop, they can react so fast that you really don't need to tune much to do it. And so just stock pins and everything just pretty much is fine. I mean, there's other things, like having like a frame with like a lower moment of inertia, like toilet tank really helps with that as well. But when you get to the core of like what is the actual limiting factor in the response, motor prop combo will always trump out tune and filters and all that stuff.
I hope that you were properly educated on props, because that was mad props to Nick for all of the prop knowledge that he dropped. Tell you what, how many times can I use prop in one sentence? I don't know. maybe we can go for more. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. The next one, I don't know what the next one's going to be on, but there's like 3 or 4 more to go. So we've got quite a bit of Wild Willy to chew through this week. So hope you guys enjoy it. I will talk to you soon. Bye.